Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This is Vdiffuser, and oh boy, we just opened a new can of worms. Turns out, the SL9 incident had a bunch of forged evidence. Edgeworth has just found out he used forged evidence, and he never knew it. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Darke killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Darke convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Darke's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. What do you have to do with those killings? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Darke tried to kill me. He tried to kill you? Oh dear. Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you. Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Darke trial. I didn't see that one coming. It happened 2 years ago, right about this time of the year too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Darke. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then Prosecutor Marshall showed up. He tried to take me hostage. Before he could, Marshall tackled him. Then, I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out suddenly. A bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting just the office just for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. I don't remember the moment when Darke stabbed Mr. Marshall, so you weren't able to testify about that. I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted the guilty verdict so badly. She forged the evidence and Edgeworth used it. I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known it was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in that instant that crime occurred? Darke knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. You stabbed right in front of the poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. I wouldn't blame her. She probably thought you were killed. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I've tried, but the words wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator to be able to fight crime with my testimonies. and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge any. I think I'm finally beginning to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. You were in Lana's office at the time. Why would a serial killer run in there? Not only that, he was being chased by a prosecutor. Well, there's no mystery there. Joe Darke had been taken in for questioning that day. Of course, this happened at the police department. He tried to run halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. Now, because the detective's offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Lana was chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Darke case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. She is a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. Alrighty, we got a lot of things we got to figure out. Lana, Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Emma told me about you. About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? Suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered today. This case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen, though. I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it wasn't really fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you always stuck to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Gee, I wonder. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use the experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 incident was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Gant's starting to sound fishy. The Darke investigation. I was second in command of the detectives investigating Darke. Second in command? That means investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. Even at the same office. Which we led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Darke was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. He was trying to save me from Darke. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us? Gant and Marshall were the ones questioning Darke that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Darke must have suddenly panicked. So we waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down and fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Darke. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Darke. It seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Darke had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What'd you do? I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. Poor thing. After that, I placed Darke under immediate arrest. Let me be straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was involved in this incident just by chance. That case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. But ever since his brothers died, he changed completely. He wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Darke. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case might just not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Darke at the police department, right? In the office that Damon Gant and I shared. That he now occupies by himself. The chief's office. Well, we're gonna have to get a look right there. Alrighty. I don't see Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. He seems the same, though. There he is. Howdy, Bambina. Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. Why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case, I needed to know the truth about it. It was this one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. You mean the switchblade knife with a broken tip? That was Joe Darke's, all right. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. Okay, the blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does it mean? It means there is a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. But the facts have been concealed with forged evidence. That case left behind scars on all of us. I got the looks, he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor, you mean the King of Prosecutors. I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close for his brother. The day of the SL9 incident, wasn't that the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning. By nightfall, there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in the investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lena Skye. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second-in-command, Lena Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. The case was the biggest step in both their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been in the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. What happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina. Her secret's too well guarded. I never found out. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was an enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone's Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina! And we never hear of Officer Marshall ever again. It's very, very possible that he got fired and will never be able to work with police ever again. Everyone's busy, which means there's more chaos going on there than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. Festive is the word usually used for those. Can we look around Chief Gant's office? Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator up to the top floor. I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right, you can't go in there, it's off limits! Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we aiming for? Good cripes, this guy has a full-blown pipe organ in his office. Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. That's real, isn't it? I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. thought I was a genius. Never could remember where C was. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative? Oh, you mean about forged evidence. 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. Huh, there's something there. We took it to commemorate our work there. The award looks really different. I can't put my finger on it, though. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's get out together. It was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? The case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd like to still have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out! I have a meeting to attend. Yeesh, she's forceful. Seems the case isn't over with yet after all. Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. A clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside there. Hey, pal. Aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm taking a breather. My feet hurt. Sitting too long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? No, why do you ask? He's under fire from both police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. That sounds serious. Well, gee, I wonder why. It's probably because of what Lana said. He fricking used forged evidence and didn't know it in his first trial. That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now he has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Why would he be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. She's the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor's responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise up to the top. He not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. Gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth might just crack. Well, he does, actually. I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. Did you find anything out? The only evidence Darke left behind was during his final attack. When he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl. Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized she was the girl. That's when he left behind the most incriminating evidence of all. What was it? Let's see. I think it had something to do with a murder weapon. I forgot. It's all written in here, okay? Power of recollection never fails to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. Might jog his memory. He was 42 at the time of the crime. He was your run-of-the-mill businessman. What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. So, it was an accident. An accident, yeah, but it transformed him into an animal. He killed the man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed the lady who saw the second crime. Kid walked by then, so he killed him too. Then when he was burying a body, a jogger came on and he was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. He was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. But in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim, Prosecutor Marshall. But he turned himself in. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Darke was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, Emma. About this. Hey! There's a tag attached to it with the label SL9 on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon use we're speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, the knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day he was murdered, the weapon suddenly disappeared. It was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car's muffler. That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it came back to me. What was it? This knife. It was Joe Darke's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it to the store he bought it at, and had his fingerprints on it, too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it, inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Joe Darke's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, ask Chief Gant. It does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The Chief's out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if it's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust. Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is their only chance of getting into that office. Alrighty. The unstable jar. I think I've seen it before. Somewhere? Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from their previous lives. This may be the most uninformative detective I've met. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the Chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gant? Where could I have seen it before? Alright, we gotta move. No one's here, not even Miss Starr. No one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15. It makes it look like we made Lana look more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I gotta find all the answers by tomorrow. The High Prosecutor's Office. There he is. He looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? Sure is quick to throw the paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? Ugh. I had to live with the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. What do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. I wonder what he was writing. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right here. Hold on. First, let me see what that girl's crawling around my feet. Letter of If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says, Letter of Resignation. Resignation? You don't mean... I'm tired, Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died. But none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh, I think he's serious. You have to do something. I wonder if I can use it for something. He's serious. Oh boy. Forged evidence. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond's broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuse I might have. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why? Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. We're gonna cut it right here, and I will see you guys next time.